You're the kicker.
Okay. Alright, well, good evening, everyone, or good morning, or whenever you're watching this. We appreciate the views. Welcome to Undisputed with Clay and Brenton, where everything we say will be disputed. This week, it's probably going to be a short week. We've heard a lot of your reviews. I know nobody really does Keyboard Warrior. They don't leave any comments, but we do know that we take a long time, so we're going to try to keep this episode short. Most of this episode will probably be short because Texas was a snore. Yeah, but we have matching hats, so that's saying something, right? Or somewhat matching hats, so yeah.
So, Brenton, what'd you think of Sunday?
Funny you ask. Oh man.
I didn't see much of the race because I was busy sleeping.
I don't blame you. I didn't watch much of it either. I listened to it and I kept track of it, but no passing, nobody who we picked was anywhere close to being capable to win. Like, it was Kevin Harvick's show, and that's fine. I mean, he wins. So if he wins the championship at this point, he's almost deserved it. You know, you've won that many times. You get it. I got it. I wouldn't be thrilled, but he's won so much, so.
Yeah, and, at this point, he needs a limo to fit all his winter stickers on his car.
Oh, yeah, I know, right? Any die cast that they come up with for next year is going to just have green on that whole side post. Yeah, it's just going to be crazy.
Did they put the stickers on the new die cast? I haven't bought a die cast in a long time.
Good question. Let me check. Well, it wouldn't be on that car. Okay, the cheap ones, it doesn't look like they do. They might do it on the more expensive ones. So
I don't know how they could, because you don't know how many races they're going to win when you make the car.
Right.
I guess you could do it by season, but I don't know. That seems like too much work for Lionel Racing.
It does. I don't see any on any of the cars. So.
Yeah, no. Texas sucked. It does, however, still keep me in the running for my picks.
Yes, it does. You are still on track, my friend, and you could literally have picked a perfect bracket right there potentially. So.
Possibly, I'm a little concerned about Chase Elliott and Truex right now. I think one of them is going to need to pretty much come away with a win next week at Phoenix. But my pick for next week would really be either one of them, actually, because Chase is usually pretty good at those kind of tracks, and everybody always says Truex is good here, Truex is good there, Truex is good everywhere,
Absolutely, he's a well-rounded driver.
If anything, a plate track would probably be where I'd least expect to see Truex in victory lane.
Yeah.
There's one there before, you don't see him in there a lot. So.
Right.
Aside, he's got a good chance anywhere. So, actually, Chase Elliott is my pick going into Phoenix this week. Who are you looking at for this weekend at Phoenix?
I think that the Penske team has a strong lineup. Based off of how the results kind of were in Texas, I think some momentum's happening with Ryan Blaney. So I think I'm going to go with Ryan. I know he's kind of like an upset as far as like he's not any of the Chase contenders, but he had a lot of momentum, and if there's time for him to get hot and really start to spoil a bunch of stuff for people, it's now. And if he could definitely do it. That goes without saying, though. I feel bad because like I would want to pick somebody like Chase or something. And just watching them at Texas, like, man, teams just fell apart. Like, so many teams just fell apart, and you know, Kyle fell apart, Truex fell apart. Like Chase finished somewhere in like 10th, 11th, or something like 9th. I think he had a top 10. I can't remember, but it wasn't great. I mean, like Hendricks Motorsports pretty much just didn't even show up. Like last week we were talking about how Hendricks is always good at Texas. Well, yeah, they proved me terribly wrong there. Yeah. So considering all of that, I mean, the Penske team is just on fire. So I'm gonna go with Ryan for this one. That Ryan would probably be my pick. So who then is your long shot? Who do you think would be the long shot winner?
Yeah, I was thinking about that earlier today, and somebody that is not very good during the rest of the weeks of the year, but he always seems to show up when you least expect him. And how many times have you seen a driver that doesn't have a ride for the next year, like come close to the end of the season?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
If I had to pick a long shot, and he's won at Phoenix before, maybe even a couple times, I like Ryan Newman. That's my long shot.
Whoa. I applaud that. That's a good one. That is true.
He's won Phoenix before from a long shot position, which I guess maybe doesn't make him quite as much of a long shot as he sounds. But, I don't believe he's coming back to RCR next year, which is probably making him kind of hungry for a win.
Sure. That is a good long shot. I am always excited to hear your take and see which drivers you pick, because that is brilliant. I mean, like, that is total sound logic on a driver that could definitely pull that off, for sure.
So far, they've all been terribly wrong, but I appreciate the feedback.
Well, but see, what's funny is I would say in any other season, they would work perfect. It's just this season is just not shaping up to make any logical sense, which is terrible. Which is why I picked Paul Menard on one of the weeks, But, I don't know. I just, there's nothing logical happening anymore. So...
Yeah, this is a weird season, and not weird in a good way. It's been crazy good. No, it's been awful.
Exactly.
It's been possibly one of the worst NASCAR seasons I've ever seen, starting with Daytona. Austin Dillon winning. What?
Yeah. 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 I mean, that's even more strange, I think, than when Trevor Bayne won it. You can kind of expect sometimes a random winner to win it. But I will admit completely that Austin Dillon winning it was huh?
Right.
You're never anybody who wins anyway. I mean,
right.
Big deal.
Trevor Bayne was supposed to be one of the next big stars.
Yeah.
If any of your family from Ohio is watching this, they'll get it. you could kind of compare Trevor Bayne to Baker Mayfield, the new quarterback with Cleveland Browns. He's supposed to be a rising new star, and he's been okay. He's won some games, but Trevor Bayne was like that. He came in, was going to be the next new big thing. Started off, I think it was his second or third start in the Cup Series. His first full-time start, and starts it off with a win at the biggest race of the year.
Sure.
And, what happened from there? Nothing.
Yeah.
He's still been searching for victory lane ever since. Hopefully, for the Browns' sake, Baker Mayfield doesn't do that in football.
I was going to say that would be nice to see that. Yeah.
So far, he's doing better than Trevor Bayne did. He's had more than one win, but I don't know. Strange year. What's your long shot?
So, it's gonna be weird. I haven't picked this guy. He's part of kind of the team that I like. I like Joe Gibbs Racing. I'm gonna go on a long shot with this one on Denny Hamlin. He hasn't done so hot lately, but if there's a person who could probably do it, I think Denny could do it. I mean, it's it's not out of the realm of possibilities. So I'm going to pick long shot Denny Hamlin.
I just went a long shot last weekend. He wasn't too bad last weekend, and Phoenix is one of his kind of tracks. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, because he's won at Martinsville before too, hasn't he? And that's kind of the same ballpark.
Oh yeah.
So
he's won Martinsville a bunch of times.
Yeah, and it's like Phoenix kind of reminds me of like a Darlington mixed with like a Martinsville. It's like short but long, and it's strange. It's very strange. So
strange. It's kind of like a less banked, a less banked, weirder version of like Pocono, except because it has that like dog leg shape.
Yes, I do. That's actually a way better way of putting it. That's exactly what it is.
But I love Pocono, and I hate Phoenix. So I don't know what the difference is.
The speed. I think the speed is the difference.
Speed, yeah.
Pocono, they fly.
Well, and they have to shift gears on the go at at Pocono. When they roll through, I believe turn 2. Well, turn 2. It's like they basically have a front stretch, a back stretch, and then an additional stretch. So the front stretch is so long. They're close to redlining by the time they get to turn 1, and then they actually downshift through and roll through the turn, and then grab another gear as they go down the next stretch. And I believe I don't know if they changed gears again or not in turn 2, but it's just a unique race because the driving style is different, and I like how they mix it up. It's not, they come to the track, they shift all the way up, all 4 gears, go around for 300 laps, and then we have a winner. Yeah, neat, cool.
Yeah.
They really have to earn it, and a lot of people don't like road courses, and I could take or leave road courses because they can get really boring as well. But it's a different kind of racing, and it's fun to mix it up. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I think that's what the chase needs. The Roval was a good idea, but it's just like it's typical NASCAR. If bar is here, they hit it about here.
Yeah.
The Roval was great, but they missed it by that much.
Yeah.
It was only exciting because everybody took that spill there at the last restart in turn 1. They all well, if it hadn't been for that, it would have been an awful race. So I think they need more plate races, and maybe a trip to Pocono, and maybe a real road course in the chase would make things more interesting. I know the drivers would hate a plate track in there, and if I was a driver, I probably would too. But as a fan, I want to see more high-speed pack racing.
Sure. Yeah, and that's kind of what it comes down to, because we pay their bills, so theoretically.
Yeah.
So
I mean, if they don't want to do it, then quit.
Right.
Don't be Mr. Hero, big shot, cool man, and then
Yep, and then just not want to do it. Yep.
And whine about it, And again, I love Kyle Busch. He's a showman. But I get so tired of hearing him complain about plate tracks and how, they're going to have to kill somebody before NASCAR gets their head out of there,
Right.
Like, no, that's one of the few tracks that still brings a good crowd out,
Yep.
People, I mean, nobody wants to see a driver get hurt, but that level of danger being there is what makes it kind of fun and exciting to watch.
Oh, yeah. And I think that's what, maybe they'll be able to accomplish that next year by having the lower horsepower package. So, I don't know. I don't know what they're going to achieve by it, so.
I sure hope so, because their sales and their fan base and everything, it's just taking a short jump off a tall cliff. It's just down.
Yeah.
And if you looked at a NASCAR attendance chart, it probably looks like a downward mountain.
Yeah. Every year you lose more and more fans. So.
You know, I've been into it for so long now that I don't think I could never see myself not being a fan.
Sure.
But you know, I my level of interest is down from what it once was, and you know you can
Yep.
probably attest to that. You know, back in like 2003, 2004, you know, when Jeff Gordon was like red hot, Bill Elliott was still racing. You know, I
Yeah.
when on Sunday morning, you know, we'd have, you know, if you went to church, you get home from
Yep.
church, you know, eat your
Yep.
breakfast. It's like maybe 10 o'clock now, and the race didn't start till 12:30, 1 o'clock. It used to just be agonizing finding something to do and wait for those 2 hours until we could get to just the
Yep.
pre-race. You know, watching Fox's pre-race show was just so much fun, and then the race was great. You know, I used to live for that race all week.
Yep.
You know, and you know, be bummed out when Sunday night came because the racing was over.
No,
Or
dude,
about-
I agree. Yep.
and you know, now like at Texas, yeah, I watched the start of the race and it was just like, whatever. And then, of course, I tuned in for the middle and the end, and it was just like it started. It just
Yeah.
there's no excitement, and we're really missing the Jeff Gordons and the, you know, I didn't really like Tony Stewart, but you know, he mixed things up. We're missing the Jeff Gordons, we're missing the Tony Stewarts, the Bill Elliott's, you know, Dale Earnhardt. We're missing the people that people love to root against, and the people that, you know, fans love to root for. You know, the good old
Sure.
boys, the new guy, the Intimidator. You know, we just don't have that dynamic.
I think it's funny because as you were talking, I started thinking of the main denominator of why I think some of this has declined, and this is just my opinion, just putting it out there, is I think that the internet killed the ability to enjoy NASCAR. The only reason I think that is because for the longest time you had it on television and radio, which were mass media that people would really only listen to once a week. You tune in and you live for that moment, right? Now with social media, these drivers have got to be on all the time. Like, they've got to be filling corporate sponsors, they've got to be doing all this stuff, they got to be making these little short videos, they got to be making these short promos. Like, I can watch the NASCAR race, you know, 60 times between now and the next race. I can dissect every angle, I can go on to every blog, every forum, everything, and get as much, I mean, like, or even our own show, you know, you can go and get NASCAR anywhere. And I think that kind of takes away some of the like the clout that it used to have and the excitement that it used to be, because you're just exposed to it all the time. Not only that, but the drivers have to be so on, and they're so disposable anymore, I guess, if that's a word for it, that, you know, if you don't perform, we'll just get the next one. And if you're not, you know, if you break the rules, we'll just get the next one. And there's no like ability to grow and be like Jeff Gordon in 20 and go into it. And I guess this is weird too, because, you know, I have drivers that I kind of look at that I'm like, I'm not a big fan of, but I'm glad they're in the sport because they make the sport what it is. And, you know, we were talking the other week, like Joey Logano, he was kind of what that was, if you think about it. Like, he came in as the best thing since sliced bread or whatever the heck his name was, and he sucked. He just royally sucked. I mean, he was with Joe Gibbs for like 3 seasons or something, and he sucked. Like, he won one race, he sucked.
Right.
And now he's fighting for a championship. I don't know if it's what everybody wants, but he has become a good driver because he's stuck with it. People have given him chances, and he fights dirty, sort of, and he's a driver. Whether that's good or bad, I mean, if you look at it back to like back in the day with Dale Earnhardt and like Ricky Rudd and those guys were kind of the same way. I mean, they raced rough, but people loved them, and people love to hate people, and so I think now it's just a matter of people love to hate, but they love to hate hating things more than they love to love things, you know, like, so It's just like, oh, Joey Logano sucks. Yeah, okay. Well, I don't like we discussed. Nobody was really in the wrong, but we don't really like Joey, so whatever. Like we can agree to not like Joey, but we don't have to be like, it's just terrible. He shouldn't have done that. Blah blah. Well, he's racing. Like you said, nobody was in the wrong. That's what we need. We need stuff like that to happen. So,
Right.
I just think the internet killed a lot. So.
Yeah, and that could be a piece of it, but NASCAR needs to remember, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yes.
Um, they tried to appeal to a new type of NASCAR fan, and I get it. The crazy junk rednecks at the race, they might be a little,
Little much.
little
Yeah.
much.
A little stereotypical.
They
Yeah.
can make you cringe, and when you're a NASCAR fan, immediately somebody thinks that you live in a trailer with a jacked up truck and a Confederate flag hanging out the back of it.
Yeah. That's been a
I get
stereotype forever.
like that stereotype, but the the good old boy, you know, stereotype that NASCAR always had is kind of also what made it great.
Yeah.
You mentioned Ricky Rudd. Look at Ricky Rudd, Rusty Wallace, Dale Earnhardt. People like that. They're just guys, and they weren't
Yeah.
afraid to get out there and race hard and fight for what they wanted.
Yeah.
And it was
Yep.
great. And I love Jeff Gordon, and when Jeff Gordon came in, he was like a whole new, piece of this puzzle.
Yeah.
And he's kind of the odd man out. Now we've kind of flipped.
Yes.
There's like 42 new Jeff Gordons. And
Yes.
like maybe one or two good old boys left that they don't do anything anyway. And it's just kind of a weird new time in NASCAR, and like for example, the going green commercials, like environment protection is great, and
Yeah.
it's important part of protecting the planet, but NASCAR goes green. These are race cars. They burn fuel.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
have-
Exactly.
Why are we getting involved in stuff like that? I don't know. It's just I don't
No,
know
I agree. Yep.
why any sport thinks they need to get into current topics and problems. Like, just people go to sports to get away from problems.
Yeah.
Current topics and current problems in the world. We don't need to hear more about it.
Nope.
And going back to like the good old boys, back in the day, you and I have been long enough that I also think it's kind of disappointing to watch the races now, because guys that I used to root for and get so excited to watch race every week literally are all gone. They're all retired.
Yeah.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. was the last, the last of the good old guys.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's going to be kind of one of those points where I think that he was the tipping scale, and there's going to be, I think there's like, I think there's going to be like 6 other drivers, in my opinion, that if once they go, it's just going to be a whole different thing, and there's going to be only a few anchor drivers.
Right.
Luckily, like Ryan Blaney is kind of coming in, and he's kind of like, he's pretty fresh. I think he's pretty relevant. And you have Chase. Those two are
Chase.
pretty.
Chase is going to be what saves the sport.
Yeah. And I think honestly Ryan Blaney will be that as well. I think that's kind of like the whole Dale Earnhardt and what was his crap? I'm blanking, but those are going to be the two guys. I think Ryan Blaney and Chase Elliott will be able to carry this sport after Denny Hamlin, Ryan Newman, Kevin Harvick, Kurt Busch,
Johnson.
Yep, Johnson, and like Clint Boyer.
Mhm.
Like when those 6 leave, and I even would say Kyle Busch, but Kyle's still a little too young. But when those 6 guys leave, it's going to be like, that's going to be almost that transition out of like what was anybody old. Because like other than that, then you're going to be looking at people who like Joey raced against Dale Earnhardt Jr. So you have Joey Keselowski and Kyle Busch, who would have really been the only three left that really raced against Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of just floats the boat out, like they would be the top dogs.
Right.
And that's crazy, like
right.
The bigger drivers with what we saw are keep getting younger and younger, and it's like, this is just crazy. So
the sport needs more Chase Elliott's and those kind of guys back in it, though. It's really the only thing to say that it needs to go back to its roots. Less rules, less regs. Just let them out, let them go, let them race, shorten the races, and let them race. Take the gloves off. They need to fight it out. Let them fight it out.
Yeah, because if you make the cars safer, like as far as cockpit wise, but you make them cheaper, like if you're running less speed or whatever, and you let them bump and bang, they're gonna do it, and they're gonna be able to, it's gonna be a lot more entertaining to watch.
Right. Well, it's like at the plate tracks now. They won't even let them bump draft anymore. They get a black flag if they lock bumpers through the turn. Or no, that was the old rule. They can only do it on the straightaways. Now they can't do it at all.
Yeah.
It's, get your nose out of their business. Just I don't ever remember rules like this growing up watching it.
Nope, I don't either. I don't either at all.
Basically, just this, maybe jump the gun, something like that. I don't know. Yeah. Simple stuff. Simple racing rules. Not.
Yep.
I thought the stages would make things better, but they haven't done anything. There didn't used to be any stages. There were, none of this wave around stuff.
Oh yeah, lucky dog. Remember when that started? Mm-hmm. I was like, what the heck is that? What the heck? Like, somebody literally gets to get back on the lead lap. Why? Every caution? Why? Like,
right.
Let everybody suffer. I mean, I would even say, like, if my favorite driver was not able to get back on the lead lap, I would kind of be pissed, but it would turn it back to the old days, like, right. Let them, if only 4 cars are on the lead lap, well, that's because those 4 cars are on the lead lap, NASCAR's got another problem on their hands. Fix that, I don't know, but, like, this wave around stuff and this lucky dog, what the heck?
well, the point of the wave around and the stages and whatever, I think the idea behind that is so you don't have one car that gets out and just dominates the race. They try to keep the pack together and keep the racing fresh, but it doesn't work because nobody's allowed to bump, nobody's allowed to crash, and these alliances between teams have got who do we have left in teams? We've got like basically 4, maybe even 3 big teams left.
Yep.
And it's just a matter. It's just it's basically just about all their bank accounts at this point.
Yeah. No, that's exactly what it comes down to, is a battle of the bank accounts for sure. So, well, I think that's we clearly talked longer than what we thought we would, because we always find stuff to talk about. So I mean, that's good. I'm hopefully we can hash out, as the season goes in the off season, we can kind of discuss more of these types of things and see, how can next season be better? Will they do this stuff? Because we'll be learning as stuff goes. So, but I don't know. I'm glad. So we got our picks. We're all set.
We exceeded our 10 minutes.
Yeah, we did. We exceeded our 10 minutes. We picked our picks. We rehashed. We definitely have a main and reoccurring theme. So maybe at some point we can come up with a what is it, like a constitution of sorts, and be like, shorter laps, let them drive. Like, make it easier to explain to people. Better rules, easier, simpler rules. So
wish list.
Yeah, we'll make a NASCAR wish list. So, Well, we appreciate you all watching. Thank you very much for joining us on this episode of Undisputed. Um, may the force be with you.
Ray says, "Oh yes."
Oh, that's great.
Oh, hey, that's another good reason I like Brian Blaney. He's a huge Star Wars fan.
He is.